Hi everybody, and welcome back to a new section of the class and another big day here in American politics. This section is all about the institutions, the three branches of government, if you will. We're going to go in the order they speak of the institutions in the Constitution, so that means we're going to start with Congress. Congress is the center of policymaking in the United States. This is where we make legislation, where laws are introduced, and is where policy is shaped. It's also the branch of government most frequently subject to electoral politics. All 435 members of the House are elected every 2 years, meaning they face the most frequent elections of any national office holder in America. As we spoke about last time, this is the way politicians are held accountable and how we keep the democratic linkage going, so electoral politics become incredibly important. This is particularly true because of the majoritarian rules in the House of Representatives, that is to say, a majority rules, 50% plus 1. As a way of solving the collective action problems in such a large institution with such diverse preferences, Congress has given a great deal of power to the Speaker of the House, who is selected by the majority party. This means that the majority gets to set the agenda, control all the key positions, set the rules on each individual bill, and largely control the outcome of most legislation. It's an incredibly powerful position, which means that the majority party in the House has tremendous power over what we do in American politics on a regular basis. As I've said before, and I'm sure I'll say it again, the rules of the game decide the outcome of the game, and nowhere is this more true than the U.S. House of Representatives. Ultimately, it's incredibly difficult to make things happen in Congress. The whole system is designed to frustrate action, with multiple veto players throughout the system. We'll talk about the process by which a bill becomes a law later, but for those of you that follow the news, you know how much gridlock and dysfunction we're seeing right now, and you'll hopefully get a better understanding of exactly all the structural features and logic behind this gridlock. So, as a reminder, the basic structure of Congress comes from Article 1 of the Constitution. Going back to one of the earliest lectures, you might remember that the structure comes from what is known as the Great Compromise. This was a way of compromising between the interests of the small states and the larger states, and making sure everyone had representation in the new colonial legislature. We have the House of Representatives, where seats are allocated due to population in each of the states. This means that bigger states have more power in the lower chamber. The Senate is the upper chamber, and each state has 2 senators regardless of size. This makes sure that the smaller states have an equal voice to the larger states in one of the chambers, and it makes sure that the couple larger states can't band together and dominate politics. Members of the House of Representatives serve 2-year terms, and all 435 are up for re-election at the same time. So in every even-numbered year, we see 435 separate district elections. These 2-year terms were a compromise themselves between the annual elections advocated by many delegates and the 3-year term proposed by James Madison. In theory, we could see all 435 members of Congress replaced and a brand new set elected every time. In practice, in a year with massive upheaval, we see 50 to 60 seats change hands. That means 370 to 380 stay the way they are. These frequent elections in smaller districts, though, keep members of Congress more accountable to the people, and theoretically make it the more democratically accountable of the 2 chambers. Meanwhile, over in the Senate, they have 6-year terms with staggered elections where 1/3 of their members are up for elections every 2 years. This gives it more stability over time. It means the Senate is less likely to have party control change in any given election. It also insulates senators from the public mood somewhat, allowing them to take a longer-term look at public policy and think more broadly. So we see the institutional structure resolves the conflict between large and small states, and solves the debate over the appropriate degree of popular influence over the government. Simply structural issues have tremendous power, and help to resolve these seemingly intractable differences in the Constitutional Convention.